What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a super chill chit chat video. I'm going to be sharing with you guys some things that I wish I knew before I quit my job. If you guys know me, you guys know that I recently quit my job back in June, which was 5 months ago. And there's a lot of things that I've learned in the past 5 months that I wish I could just go back and tell past me. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret having quit my job at all. I'm really happy with this entire journey and the way that it went. But there are a few things that I just wish that I was more prepared for when I quit my job that I now know. So I'm gonna share some of these things with you guys. Some of these things may seem obvious, some of these things may seem not so obvious, and I'm gonna kind of get to the not so obvious points in the end. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for that, because that's kind of gonna take more explaining. So the first thing I'm gonna say, been for me when I was working my 9 to 5, I saw a lot of people say this, but I didn't want to hear it. And that's that, no matter how prepared you are, quitting your job is scary. It's gonna be a really stressful experience, because whether you have another job lined up already, or whether you're planning to go work for yourself, or maybe you don't even know what you're gonna do after you quit your job, right? No matter what you have going on, it's a scary thing to turn in a resignation letter. A 9 to 5, your job that you're currently in right now provides you stability. It provides you with a stable check that you know you're gonna get every few weeks. You have benefits and you have a set amount of time that you're gonna be working every single day, right? Like, you are very much stable. And no matter how prepared you are, no matter how much you plan, no matter how much money you're even making outside of your 9 to 5, it's going to be a scary thing and you're never gonna be fully prepared for it. For me, when I quit my job, I was doing pretty well financially, but it still took me a long time getting used to and getting comfortable with working for myself. I think a lot of people want to quit their 9 to 5s because they want to get out of the rat race, or they want to get out of like this feeling that they constantly need to be productive. But when you're working for yourself, when you're the one who's reliant on yourself for your own income, there can sometimes, and there more than likely will be, even more pressure to be productive. So for example, for me with my YouTube channel, I was working on my YouTube channel on the side while I was working my 9 to 5 job. And I really enjoyed making content, right? It was like my escape. It was like what I was passionate about. But once you quit your job and once you start making money from your hobbies, it's going to change the game just a little bit. When your hobby suddenly starts becoming your job and what you're reliant on to pay the bills, the nature of how you feel about that thing is going to change slightly. And I forgot to say this, sorry, editing Lynette here, but also I think a lot of people assume that when you quit your job, the pressure of being productive and the pressures of capitalism and all these things are gonna go away because you're working for yourself. But at the end of the day, we still live in a capitalistic system. So in order for us to survive and thrive and start businesses and be content creators and do all the things that we wanna do, we still have to abide by the rules of being capitalist. We still have to be productive. We still have to do all these things. So I think for me, I thought that once I quit my job, all of those pressures would go away. But in reality, they're not gonna go away, right? You're still gonna feel them. You still have to answer to people who are gonna be paying you, whether that be your customers or whether that be brands or a platform. So while you get to make your own rules and it's really fun and amazing and nice, it's still, you're not escaping that feeling of having to be productive. There's still gonna be that pressure, and if anything, there's gonna be even more pressure because again, you're working for yourself or you're relying on yourself for your own income. So it just adds to that. But I will say for me personally, I think what really helped with that is the fact that I fell in love with YouTube, like making YouTube videos, before I quit my job. And I think for a lot of people, because there's this huge wave right now of quitting your job, and a lot of people just want to be entrepreneurs, a lot of people don't have something that they're super passionate about, right? So if you're planning to quit your job to be a content creator or to start your own business or whatever, make sure what you're quitting your job to do is something that you actually will enjoy. And again, it's different for every single person, but just keep that in mind. Make sure that when you quit, you're really ready to make that jump. Follow your gut. Only you know when the time is right for you. And so that kind of leads me into my next tip, which is to not talk to too many people about your plan. If you're planning to quit your job and you are excited about it and you want to go and tell everyone that you're going to be quitting your job soon, you're going to be working for yourself soon, I get it. Trust me. It's really exciting. If you have supportive friends and family, it can feel really exciting to want to go and tell everyone what your plans are and what you're working so hard towards. But I will say, just be careful like how much you share, because my thing is this, like if you are talking to your friends and family constantly about these plans, First of all, it's gonna put a lot of pressure on you to quit your job and have things lined up so you can quit your job sooner rather than later. Because when you start sharing it, when you start talking about it, you're gonna start feeling like, okay, I've been talking about it for a few months now, and the end of the year is coming up. I should probably start figuring this out, right? It's gonna start to feel like more pressure. So you wanna make sure that you're not doing it for that reason. But also, I will say, no matter how supportive your friends and family are, you just wanna be careful because people will tend to project their feelings on you, their fears. Because this is my thing. A lot of people that are in your life may not be working for themselves, right? A lot of people are working 9-to-5s either because, they are actually happy with their jobs, but also a lot of people feel stuck where they are. And a lot of people don't, even if they, again, have the best intentions for you, they may not fully understand why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing, if you're actually capable of doing what you're doing. So again, you might be telling someone like, okay, I plan to do this. This is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm so excited about it. And they may be cheering you on and they may be like, yes, you can do this. You got this. But they may still kind of start to project some of those fears onto you. You may be able to pick up on like some people might look at you a little bit differently. Maybe they'll start asking you some questions like, well, what will happen if this happens? How are you gonna support yourself? What about the car you just bought, right? People might start asking you questions that may start making you question yourself. Because then you might start being like, okay, well shit, I didn't think about that. What if this does happen? What about my car? What about this bill? I don't know. And then you might start doubting yourself and then you might start overthinking. You don't wanna overshare what your goals are. Honestly, with anything in life, if you plan to quit your job, if you plan to try to lose weight, it doesn't matter. I honestly will say it's better to try to keep to yourself. Obviously, have a support system, but again, you don't want to overshare because again, even the people who have the best intentions for you will be scared for you as well. And again, that's just gonna make you start overthinking. And also, do not overshare with people at your job, especially. That was one thing that I personally was not too sure about when I was working my job was, do I tell people who I'm working with, do I tell my bosses, do I tell my coworkers, even if they're cool, do I tell people what my plan is, or do I just shut up and not say anything? And the answer is you should just shut up and not say anything. It doesn't matter how cool you are with your coworkers or your boss or whoever you're mentor at work, it does not matter. Do not tell people at your job that you're trying to quit your job. It's not always gonna backfire on you, but you'd rather be safe than sorry, right? Like you don't want to put yourself at risk. People will talk. You don't want that to affect you and affect your plan for quitting. That's my third thing. My fourth thing is to make sure that you know, and this might sound so obvious to you, but this was not obvious to me. I knew this obviously, but it didn't really hit me until after I had to pay taxes for the first time, is that when you're working for yourself, you have to pay taxes on the money that you make, which again, is a very obvious statement, but it's different when that money comes out of your bank account from the IRS. It's very, very different, right? When you're working 9-to-5, obviously when you get a paycheck every single month or 2 weeks or whatever, taxes already come out for you. So you're seeing exactly how much you're walking away with. But when you are working for yourself, that is very, very different. And it takes a little bit of a mindset shift. You have to get used to the fact that what number you're seeing that you're making is not the same as what you're actually making. You wanna make sure that you're prepared. You wanna make sure that you know what you're doing and how you're doing it, how you're doing your taxes, how you're budgeting, all that stuff before you quit your job, because you wanna be prepared and you also wanna know exactly what financial state you're actually in. Honestly, for me, when I quit my job, I was not prepared for that. I was comfortable financially. Yes, I had money and I was good. I was taken care of, but I didn't have an actual plan for paying taxes. I didn't know actually how much money I really had saved, because again, a lot of the money that I had earned that quarter, I was gonna have to pay money on, right? I was gonna have to pay taxes on. So I really recommend before you quit your job, get some kind of accounting help, get some kind of plan in place. I will leave a link to my accountant down below. You guys know I always talk about her, but honestly, I wish I would have gone to her before I quit my job, because she has helped me so much with getting my finances together, with just seeing how I'm doing financially, especially just because she is catered to my niche, right? So she helps influencers and content creators manage their finances so that they can be prepared for tax season, so that they can increase their profits. And so for me, I was able to ask her about tax write-offs and how I should manage my sponsorships and how I should document my income and all that stuff. So it's been really helpful for me having someone that I can go to with all of those questions. And just a little bit about her, just because I think she's really awesome. I think people should go check her out. She offers done for you monthly bookkeeping. So if you're looking for someone to handle everything for you, you want someone to help you come tax season so that they're filing your taxes for you, then she does that. But then she also does quarterly or monthly consulting services. So that's really helpful if you want to kind of figure out how to manage all that stuff yourself. If you want someone that you can meet up with and talk to every quarter, every single month about how you're doing financially, I recommend at least, like, even if you're not in a position yet to have help with taxes and all that stuff, at least apply to her profit accelerator. You can sit down with her and do a one-on-one and just ask her some questions, kind of do like a discovery call and just kind of get help to just see where you're at, especially if you're still working 9 to 5. It'll at least help you understand, like, okay, this is where I'm at, this is where I need to be, and this is how I need to get here, right? So my fifth thing, and my most important thing that I wish I would have known before I quit my job, is that quitting your job is not going to solve all of your problems. And I know you don't want to hear this right now. I know you're probably like, Lynette, I don't care. I just want to get out of the 9 to 5. I'm over this. I want to work for myself. It's going to solve at least a few of my problems. Cool. I totally understand that. But just keep in mind that when you quit your job, there's going to be like this feeling like, okay, you quit your job, like the gates are opening, everything is beautiful, you're entering this new world of rainbows and butterflies, and now you're working for yourself and you're free. It's gonna feel like that's how it's supposed to be, but it's not how it's actually gonna be. Or at least that's what I personally pictured when I was quitting my 9 to 5. I genuinely felt like once I quit, once I was out of that whole rat race, that life would be totally different. And it can be, don't get me wrong, but for me, that's just not how it was. A lot of your problems, if you're going through mental health issues, if you're going through all these things, while your 9 to 5 might be contributing to that, and when you get out of your 9 to 5, it might help you kind of feel better, quitting your job is not going to solve everything. When you quit your job, you suddenly become responsible for your own happiness. If you're not happy, you can't blame it on your job. You can't blame it on the fact that you don't have enough time. You can't blame it on anything but yourself. Suddenly you become responsible for not only your finances, but your emotional and mental well-being. And I wish I would have realized before I quit that I am capable, you are capable, we're all capable of finding happiness, of finding peace within ourselves, even while we're working a 9 to 5 job, which I never thought I would say. I never thought I'd be the person to say this. But the reason why I say this is because we're so often, I think, focused like on these end goals. And for me, for a long time when I was working my 9 to 5, my end goal was to get out of my job. And now that I'm here, I'm like, wait, I'm not like running towards this specific goal anymore. I'm just here. Like, yes, I have all these other goals and I have all these other things that I want to accomplish, like that are literally up here on my wall. I want to help people. I want to start these businesses. I want to do all these things. But at the same time, now that I've gotten to like one of my biggest goals in life, which was to get out of the 9 to 5, I've realized that like getting to the goal is not the fun part. Like getting to that goal of in doing the thing, you expect happiness to be there at the finish line, but you're capable of finding happiness during the entire journey. And I've had to eventually come to terms with the fact that I think that's the point of life, is realizing that no matter what goals you have, happiness is, again, not at the finish line where you get to the goal. It feels good. It feels amazing. That does not mean that you should not still work your ass off to get to that goal. But you have to realize that life is about the journey. The fun part of life is getting to the goal. The fun part of life is now. It's here right now. And again, don't get me wrong, if you're working 9 to 5 and you're miserable and it's draining you mentally, I'm sure you're going to feel a lot better when you are working for yourself. Financial freedom feels amazing. It's amazing to be able to own your own time. It's amazing to be able to have your own schedule and not answer to anyone else. But I wish I would have learned to be more present in my journey of getting here, because I think I would have been a lot happier after I quit my job. Honestly, if you guys watch my vlogs, you guys know I struggled honestly for a good few months after quitting my job, because I was like, what am I supposed to be feeling? I don't feel that happiness that I thought I was gonna feel. And I had to realize that, again, the happiness is in the now. It's in the present. It's not when you cross the finish line. And I don't even know if what I'm trying to explain is making sense or coming across the way that I want. But I watched this video by, oh my God, I cannot remember his name right now, but I will leave it on the screen. And he talked about this. This is an amazing video on it, and I highly recommend you guys go watch it. He said that like finances, money, while it awards you freedom and your time back and all these things and the chance to work on what you love full time, it's not going to provide, it's not going to fill you up emotionally. The only thing that's going to do that is you yourself going inward and learning how to do that yourself. I talk about spirituality a lot on my channel, and that's because your connection with your higher self, with the universe, is going to be what fulfills you and what fills you up more than financial freedom ever will, more than finding your dream apartment, more than material things, more than even having your own time. If you learn to cultivate your energy and develop that relationship with yourself and with source right now, even while you're working your 9 to 5, you will be a lot happier by the time you get out. So be present in what you're in right now. If you're not feeling your job, be present in that. It's going to make the journey a lot more enjoyable. You're going to enjoy life a lot more. And it's just going to make you a lot less stressed out about getting there. You're going to be able to kind of lean back and trust the universe to work for you. So you don't have to work as hard to eventually find financial freedom. So hopefully that makes sense. Those are really just like my 5 big things that I would say I wish I really knew before I quit my job. Let me know in the comments down below which of these resonated with you the most, which of these do you feel like you need to hear the most. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye.